What's going on? It's Marcus Woods here. I am standing in for Dr. Milton C. Woods on this wonderful occasion. I got T Dog over here with me.
How y'all doing?
And this is Reliable Sources. And I'm happy to have y'all all here. And so we are here and we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time, I believe. And then I'm going to get off here and then go do my program on Mondays. Mine is on Instagram, but we're here now. And I'm happy to be here. And happy to be here with you all. Please share this Reliable Sources. We want to share it with everybody and let everybody know we got some beautiful things happening here. And we're going to continue the discussion. T, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good today, man. Thank y'all for taking time out to watch today's episode. Again, the 20th versus the 21st century.
Thank y'all. We appreciate it. And we're going to continue the discussion of 20th century and 21st century in a different way, you know, and then Dr. Bishop Milton C. Woods will be back and do it the way that he has it. So, but we want to definitely just continue the discussion. So, so we want to talk about the positivity and negativity, the positive thinking versus the negative thinking, how it was back then and how it is today. So, with that being said, man, what is I'm asking y'all, what are some things that you've noticed from the 20th century to the 21st century, the way people think, the way that people think now positively versus the way they think negatively? Like, how has positivity and positive thinking and negative thinking shaped us, like where we are right now? Let's see. We get some answers to that, because it does shape you, even if and I know this when we do Reliable Sources, every now and then we'll talk about God and scriptures and things of that nature. Before we get into that, though, I want to know what are some things that you've noticed that changed in the minds of people talking about positive thinking and negative thinking? What are some of those ways? So T, what do you think, man? What are some things that you noticed that have changed?
I believe that people are so open to negativity nowadays that they say, oh well, it's bound to happen. I'm just gonna let it play out. So just like, if it does happen, I still gotta think positive.
Yeah. And it's crazy because positivity and negativity, like even if you paid attention in the last couple few years, especially with dealing with like the pandemic and things like that, you can see the way people's minds have changed and how, I mean, think about it. You can go to any fast food drive-in and the way that they think and talk about things nowadays, it is like the way they treat you. Like, they don't even treat you. I think Chick-fil-A is the only place that'll still tell you have a blessed day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everywhere else, they kind of mad. They don't want to be there and they hate their jobs. And, they won't even give you a straw or napkin if you don't ask for it, because just the way people thinking nowadays. And so you have to have a positive mind frame. Let me start there till somebody answers the question. You have to have a positive mind frame. Like, even in everything that you do. I don't care if you are working at a fast food restaurant, or if you're a mail carrier of some sort, or if you're at church, you still have to have some positive thinking. And the scriptures is coming to my mind, and I'll get to them in a second. It's like, we know there's one scripture that says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So that means that how that person carries their thought patterns, that's who they will become. And I want people to understand that this up here is way more powerful than we give credit for. This is probably one of the best tools that God has given us, is our mind and how we think and how we use it, things of that nature. What some of these comments are saying, Tito?
Stephanie says, so true, Trent. Just had a conversation today. Negativity is a spiritual drain.
It's a spiritual drain, Steph. That's so true. It's a spirit. I don't care if you believe that Jesus walked on water. You hear me? Like, I don't care if you've been in church all your life. I don't care. What if you don't think positively about what Scripture is saying, you're draining yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't think positive about your job, you're draining yourself. Now, that doesn't mean that your job is the end all be all. Like, you still can pursue something else. Because I'm pretty sure nobody wants to work at a job for the rest of their life. People rather have a career or do something that they love, which will fall into a career and make millions of dollars that way and be peaceful. I know people right now that do what they love and don't make as much money as people on their actual jobs. and those people are happy versus the people that's working their jobs. They're miserable. You know what I'm saying? They're miserable. What you about to say, T?
You know what? Because he just brought something back to my memory. Because I took a Mandarin when I became a manager at Papa. I had to take a Mandarin class. I said, "Oh, I like everything you're saying." It's like I was like, "Yes, I can't really take this and use this where I go." So the guy who was teaching the class in Popeyes, right? I'm like, yeah. But the one thing I learned when I worked at Popeyes, that's like you make your environment.
Yep.
You control your environment.
Yep.
If it's a bad day happen, try to make it to a good day.
Yes, sir.
Because I can't tell you how many times I go to Popeyes, everybody happy to see me.
So and that's the thing. Like you have to be positive, even on your job. Like when I had a regular. When I was working, I would say regular 9 to 5. Let's say it like that. When I've done, worked at the Demo. It was a clothing store. I don't even know if Demo is still around anymore. Right. But I worked at Demo and I worked at Foot Action USA. And I would the best days I would have was the days that I would come in with such a positive mindset, especially so you selling shoes at Foot Action. You're making your money off of your sales, you know what I'm saying? So you had to really sell the shoe. If I went in there like I'm not gonna sell no shoes today, I promise you I didn't sell no shoes, made no type of commission on the shoes. But the days that I went in there and I was like, I don't care what happened. I'm gonna have the best time. It's gonna be a good day. It's the days that I had the best sales, and it's always the way you think. Let's get some of these comments.
Yep. So we got from Sister Marcinda. She said, people say they can't do something before they can even attempt to try whatever it is. I can't do this, but you didn't try.
So say it one more time.
You said people say they can't do something before they even attempt to try whatever it is. I can't do this because I can't do this, but you don't even try to.
Don't even try. And the crazy thing, Proverbs 6:2 says, "Thou art snared with the words of thy mouth. Thou art taken with the words of thy mouth." In other words, snare means to be trapped. It's a bird trap back in the day. They used to use to trap birds. But the scripture is saying that you're trapping yourself with your own words. You're using your own words to what Marcinda is saying is making you stuck. Is you before you even try, like if you quit in your mind first, you're never gonna give it a shot. You're never gonna believe in yourself. Or sometimes you can do the action, but if in your mind you're not gonna succeed in the action, I'm telling you, you're gonna lose every single time. And that's a good point, Sister Marcinda. Let's get some more of the comments.
Sister Margaret said it is so many people now who get so offended and become offensive.
Yeah, and that's, Sister Margaret, that's so true, because people, when we call it a spirit of offense in church, everybody's offended. Back in the day, Maddie Moss Clark, I didn't know her personally, but back in the day when she would work with the choirs and stuff, she would quick throw a shoe. You know what I'm saying? She'd throw a shoe if you didn't get the note right, or if you wasn't paying attention, or whatever she needed to do to reprimand you. And I'm not saying that we should be throwing shoes at each other then, but they had such a respect for her and what she did, they didn't get offended, and then they knew that she was working them towards perfection. Now you can't tell nobody nothing. Nobody wants a mentor. Nobody wants any help. Everybody think they can figure it out by themselves with their negative mindset, though. How you gonna figure it out if you're stuck in a rut mentally and spiritually, and you don't know where else to go? It's sometimes you need somebody else to tell you. You know what I'm saying? You need somebody else that has a in church a godly heart, a godly mind, and worshiping, living holy, living saved. And in the world, you know what I'm saying? You need somebody that has a positive outlook and a positive that can see the light at the end of the tunnel for you when you don't see that light for yourself. Let's get some more comments.
Yes, sir. So we're at Sister Tanya says, lack of respect and genuine love for others.
Yeah, it's crazy. People don't have, if you don't have love and respect for others, that usually means you don't have it for yourself. Yeah. That's usually what it means. You know what I mean? You don't have that. I don't that love, and which all falls into positive thinking. It all falls. You don't have love and respect for yourself, so you don't have it for nothing else. Not that's just people. It's you don't have it for nothing else. You know what I'm saying? You don't consider nothing else, and you feel like you're never gonna come out, or you're never gonna make it. It's that woe is me mindset that we have to change to be better people and to be better in life and our careers. What's some more we got? I like the comments. Let's go to the comments.
Cousin Keisha Cousins said, respect people and things have decreased.
Yeah, it has, because the way that we're thinking, you know what I'm saying? It baffles me that the way that we thought. I know we're talking 20th century versus 21st century, but just 5-6 years ago, we weren't like this. We weren't. Something has happened in our minds and our hearts that has changed us. And I honestly believe, is what you feed. I do a mentorship with kids in Detroit, And they go from kindergarten all the way up to, well, I don't deal with the kindergartens. I do 4th grade all the way up to the 8th grade. And when I do this mentorship every week, I'm always telling these kids how to rethink, because some of them they don't know, like they're not being taught to think a certain way. And I have to always show them and tell them, like, hey, it's how you think, it's how you start in your mind, it's how you handle situations up here first. Don't just react. Just think about it up here first. Let's get some more comments. That's a good point. Let's get some more comments.
Okay, Stephanie comes back saying, that's right. The only thing you can control is you. Be the change you want to see.
Be the change. That's such a powerful statement. I think it gets overlooked because it's been said for so many years. Being the change that you want to see. I always ask these questions to people that I admire or look up to, and I always ask questions like, what would you tell your younger self? What would you tell your younger self? How would you tell your younger self? Like, what encouragement would you give from where you are right now to that younger self? And being that change, like be that mentor that you wanted somebody to be for you. Go after life and be great at life, and be that person somebody can come to that wasn't there for you. Be the change. And the crazy thing is, you ain't got to wait till you're a millionaire, billionaire to be the change. You ain't got to wait till your career or your life takes off until everything is quote unquote perfect until you be that change. You can start that change now. It was a quote, just quoting it because I love the movie Notorious with B.I.G. and Diddy. It was a scene, and it was a real statement that they said to each other, where Diddy had told to Biggie, he told Biggie, he was like, oh, Biggie, we finna take over the world. We finna change the world. And Biggie told Diddy, he said, we got to change ourselves first. And so to Steph's point, if you want to be changed, you can't go attack the world if you can't change what's going on in you first. You can't go tell nobody how to make it if you're not trying to make it within yourself first. And obviously with us being Christians, when some of us on here being Christians and being saved, you can't be that change in your church or in the body of Christ. You can't expect them to change if you're not going to be the change. It starts with each person, and then you inspire everybody else, one person at a time, leaving them with a little bit of better every time you encounter them, so that can grow on them and they can grow in that. Let's get more comments. This is good conversation.
Margaret said people are often too leery of one another now because, like Bishop said last week, it's so hard to trust people these days. I pray for the ones that don't have Jesus in their lives.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Because see, we as human beings, we're fallible. We make mistakes. We're subject to fail. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean that you're a failure, but we all have failed at some point in our lives. And what it does is, especially when dealing with people, it makes us not trust each other because you might have hurt somebody you probably didn't mean to, but you probably hurt them and you misused them or whatever, or vice versa. The beautiful thing about this is when you got God and you truly got God, you got Jesus in your heart, he can lead you to the right people. He can show you the people that you can trust in. The problem with most of us is we want to trust people that we shouldn't trust in the first place, and then go ask God, can you get me out of this situation? Knowing that you were supposed to trust that person or that individual in that situation. So it's a lot of times, a lot of the mistakes that we say, like I hear people say this all the time, like, oh, I can't trust them or I can't trust them. But and I get it because, that's a real thing. But sometimes we have to pay attention to who we're putting trust in. And it don't always mean that they're a bad person. Sometimes you got to really sit back and ask yourself, can this person handle what I need to trust them with? And be honest with that. That's maturity. That's not saying that they're a bad person. The way you trust your spouse may not be the way you trust your friend. The way you trust a family member might not be the way you trust, and then there's certain family members. I know if I need to talk about video games and the in-depth of video games and gaming and YouTube and all that stuff, I'm not going to go ask Nico. I'm going to ask Terrence because I could trust that he's going to give me the right type of information. Why would I get upset at my brother Nico when I know he's not a gamer and a professional YouTuber? And then I get mad at him because he didn't give me the right information. I put trust in a person that can't handle that situation. Go to the people that can handle that situation. You got some view on your mind.
No, you saying no? I was enjoying it, but that's so true. You can't always trust people. I know this is me to a fault. I do put the trust in the wrong people. Not every time, but some of the time, yes. And like I said, I can't get mad at them. Most I got to be mad at myself. I said, man, I shouldn't have went to you. I should went to people who know what they're doing, what they're talking to. So that's true because a lot of times we think we know everything, but we don't.
We don't know everything. We don't know everything, and sometimes it goes back to what we said at the top. having the right type of mentor, having the right type of person that you can go to and talk to, and that's going to lead you in the right way, not just tell you what you want to hear, but tell you the right things. You know what I'm saying? Let's get some more comments. Like a lot of comments flowing in.
Brother Rick said people are comfortable openly doing things they know are wrong and will attempt to justify it.
People are, and that's true. It's true that people, they get comfortable doing the wrong things. See, and the problem is they don't necessarily like doing the wrong things. It's just what they're comfortable with. And usually when you have to change, especially a person that their mind is negative or positive, when you have to change, sometimes change means you can't be comfortable no more. Right. Sometimes going and thinking and doing things a different way means you can't be comfortable, and it's going to take work. That's the one thing about thinking positive that I want people to understand. It takes work. It's not a fairy tale just because you're thinking happy that things are supposed to go right for you all the time. That's not how it works. I want to, I put this down in my notes on my phone. I put positive thinking isn't saying I'm always happy and things never go wrong. It's saying when things do go wrong, I know on the other side it's going to get better. You get what I'm saying? So that means sometimes you have to go through wrong. Sometimes you have to go through the bad times. Sometimes you have to go through the dark times. That means that on the other side of anger is being calm and peace. Right. On the other side of being sad is happy. You know what I'm saying? On the other side of that storm are brighter days. And so you have to, that's how positivity works. It's saying when things are going great, I'm a positive person. When things are going bad, I'm positive, and I believe that on the other side of this bad thing, good things are going to happen. So positivity isn't just sunshine and rainbows. It's the same way with Jesus Christ, with God. It ain't always sunshine and rainbows. It's not going to always be like that. It's saying that when there is a storm, and it's crazy and it's boisterous winds and it's going crazy, while it's going on, Jesus is saying, still come out here to me, because I'm going to do a miracle in the storm. And then after the storm, I'm going to show you how great I am. Or because he controls everything, he's saying, I'll calm the storm. I'll tell the storm to calm in your life, but you got to trust that I'll do it. Yeah, so that's good stuff. A lot of comments. I see a paragraph, but get all the rest of the comments. We'll work our way down.
So Marcinda said, I tried teaching others how to work a computer at one at a time. They refuse to learn, but only to learn to play the games on the computer. Scared to learn something new.
Scared to learn something new. Because, see, in life, we have shown, especially young people nowadays, how popular gaming is. And it's almost probably $1 billion industry, if not more, in video gaming, where people are getting famous from playing video games. They're getting famous first. I keep telling people, fame don't come before the money. I've seen it. People recognize me in the grocery store for commercials that I've done. And I don't got all. I'm still getting the same line as them to get the same grocery. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody going to pick my groceries up for me. But we have shown kids that being famous is more important than being thoughtful. Being famous is more important from being kind. Being famous, because people are getting famous for being negative too. Being famous, you could be famous for everything but being good and being positive. You know what I'm saying? And that's so the kids put their attention on the gaming because they feel like this is going to get me there better than actually learning what this computer can do for me, or learning that they could be the creator of a game through the computers and reach a level of success.
Steph, help refresh my memory, because this live streamer named Johnny Somali, he does an IRL. I think it's like in real life or real time. I can't remember. Steph, help me out with that, please. Mm-hmm. But he got in trouble for just being so overly negative. He went to jail. Sorry, went to jail in Japan. He recently just got off. Then he went on a live stream and said, "Oh yeah, I lied to the Japanese government. I did demonetize."
Sheesh.
So yeah, so people see that, and what's sad is actually getting more broader and crazier. Mm-hmm. That's in Japan.
Right.
So you know, Japan don't play. He just God willing let him get off, but he ain't learned the lesson. And when people don't see that, I'm like, so why is he still doing what he's doing? Because eventually it is gonna catch up.
It is definitely gonna catch up. Yeah. You can't live a negative life and do negative things and think that it's going to get better if you're not putting in that work to become better. And I really want to hammer that in. Sometimes having a positive mindset is work. You have to work on it. Change is work sometimes. And so that means you got to fight your old negative thoughts. You got to fight friends who don't think the way you're thinking. And I don't mean physically fight. I mean, you're going to have to really overcome these thoughts and these feelings to really have a positive mindset and to do positive things. Let's get some more comments.
Yeah, Sister Joyce coming saying, I match the energy. I treat people how you wish to be treated.
Yeah, and you know, and I've heard this phrase, and I like the part where you said you treat people how they're supposed to be treated. I like that phrase, but the match energy phrase, I want to deal with it. I'm careful with it because if you giving me negative energy, I don't want to, and I know that's not what she means, but if you're giving me negative energy, I can't give you negative energy back. Now, what I can do is remove myself from that type of situation. You don't always want to match where people at. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to have just say if we had me and T were having an argument. I don't want to just shout. You've shouted with anybody. You know this. Sometimes you don't get nowhere. It doesn't get nowhere until somebody comes, get calm, and say either we'll finish this conversation later, or they start speaking with a softer tone or softer voice. And we know scripture, and I'm paraphrasing, talks about how a softer tone can turn away wrath. You know what I'm saying? I'm paraphrasing, y'all, so don't shoot me. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? So it's better sometimes to not necessarily match energy, but it's meet them at a different level, and that different level should be better than the level that you are at. Because just because somebody tells you to shut up doesn't mean you tell them no, you shut up back. That doesn't always cause for that. You don't always have to answer with that same quote unquote matching of energy. Let's get some more comments. Good comment.
Definitely say I agree with Mr. Rick. People will do anything they believe they can get away with. For example, running a stop sign because the police aren't around you to see you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it's crazy. Read that part again. See, read
I agree with Mr. Rick. People will do anything they believe they can get away with.
Yeah, they will.
For example, running a stop sign because because the police aren't around to see you. They do it. Like you see somebody else do it. Oh, when you do it, whoop whoop. I'm like,
yeah, no, it's like it's crazy. You can't do that. And then and I always be like, people be like, oh man, where them police at now? They running a red light or they speed. The police are in the same spot they was in when you ran the light and they was speed. So it's so funny. We'll be like, oh, why they giving me a ticket? I seen them run the light. Well, how many times did you run the light before? You know what I'm saying? Right. It always crack me up. Like they's in that same place. But to his point, we don't always want to just be doing stuff because everybody else is doing it. We don't want to do wrong. Y'all don't know the old saying, 2 rights don't make a wrong. You know what I mean? Just like 2 wrongs don't make a right. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that we have to not necessarily do what everybody else is doing. 1, see what God wants us to do. And then 2, never do wrong because everybody else is doing wrong. Never think negative because everybody else is thinking negative. Somebody should be a change. It should be the light. Let's get some more comments.
So Marcella comes by saying, speaking of that trust, some people have you too loose to trust in them.
So she said they say that again.
Speaking of that trust, some people have you too loose to trust in them.
See, and that's true. I think things like trust, loyalty, respect, they're gifts that God gave us to give to other people. And so understand that once people have broken your trust or something like that, you don't just have to give it back to them. You know what I'm saying? You don't just have to give it back to them. It don't mean you necessarily treat them bad or treat them. You just don't have to invest that gift into them no more. But understand too that when you do give these gifts away, just like if you was to buy somebody a gift on Christmas and they didn't give you nothing back, you can't be like, well, where my gift? Right. Especially if you're surprising them with a gift or something, and you're just giving it out the kindness of your heart. You're giving somebody something. You can't be like, well, they ain't give me no gift. They ain't give me no gift. No, they did that out the kindness of their heart. You know what I'm saying? And then the other person doesn't necessarily have to reciprocate that. You get what I'm saying? But that doesn't make them a bad person. But now you learn the lesson. You know what I'm saying? The lesson is, okay, I did something kind for you. Next time, they said thank you, but they didn't do nothing in return. Sometimes we got to stop giving stuff away with expecting something to come back. If that makes sense. If that makes sense, y'all in the chat, y'all let me know. You can't be freely just giving. You can't say, I'm doing this out the kindness of my heart and always expecting that back. Some people, let me tell you something about positivity, about trust, love, and all these things. Some people genuinely don't know how to reciprocate. Now, you can help them learn that by being kind and showing them that. But what you can't do is necessarily get mad. If you're doing something out the kindness of your heart, I'm sorry, it don't always mean something good. That means that particular person is going to reciprocate that. Now, we know that the Bible says you reap what you sow. So God will find somebody, if not them, somebody or in some way, you'll get that back. But stop, just be kind to be kind. Be positive so you can be being kind, being positive, and being trustworthy and loyal. Those are qualities that'll help you, and it'll attract the right people around you. But just like in any situation, there's good cops, there's bad cops. There's good preachers, there's bad preachers. There's good churches, there's bad churches. There's good gyms, there's bad gyms. There's good grocery stores, there's bad. There's good employees, there's bad employees. Sometimes people come in with those good things that, trying to get around you, and you thinking everybody coming is just as trustworthy as I am. Now, sometimes there's a weeding out process. Yeah. You know what I mean? So don't get mad at them. Just identify them, see them, pray for them, and then just move along. But you don't have to do it with no malice or nothing in your heart, if that makes sense. Let's go.
Trinity comes up saying people are too focused on what other people need to be doing rather than they need to be doing. For example, people will judge someone for being too lazy while sitting on their couches eating potato chips by watching TV when they know they have something more important to do.
Absolutely. The statement that she said is too busy judging other people and all that stuff. Let me tell you, if you really focused on you and see where you at, the good in your life that you got to work on to make better, and the bad in your life that you got to make good, and the better that you want to move to great, if you really look at yourself, I'm telling you, you wouldn't have time. If you was too busy working on you, you would not have time to be worried about nobody else. If you really said, let me do the homework on me, let me change my mindset, because my mind is not where it needs to be. Let me build my faith in God, because it's not where it needs to be, or I want it to be better. If you do the work on you, you'll have no time to be comparing and judging. Comparison is the enemy of success. You know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to compare yourself to other people. You're trying to, they got a new car, I need a new car. Or they lost weight, I need to lose weight. Or they do this, I got to do that. No, just worry about you and what God called you to do. Do what God called you to do, and ask God to help you apply those things to yourself. But she's so right. You can't be worrying about nobody else. And then the Bible tells you, say you basically judging somebody else, but you pointing your finger this way, but you got a whole more in your eye. You're trying to show the beam, but you got all this going on in your eye. You know what I'm saying? Worry about you. Worry about fixing your attitude. Worry about making yourself better. Worry about you pleasing God. Worry about changing your mindset, and don't get so caught up in nobody else. And I'm telling you, once you really get focused and doing it, the right people will come around you. Because look, I get it. You have friends and groups and big groups of people, people, whatever, and you want them to think good of you. You know what I'm saying? You want them to like you, and everybody wants to be loved in one way or another. But you shouldn't have a group of people where if you're doing good, it shouldn't be a bragging circle.
Right.
Your successes shouldn't sound like bragging. If you succeed, it should be because, congratulations, man, you're doing your thing. Keep going. That if you want to compare, let's compare on how we can make each other better. If you want to compare, let's compare on how we can fix our mindset, get more money together, find more people like-minded, like get with those group of people, because you shouldn't be ashamed to talk about good things because you're afraid that you're going to offend somebody, or because they ain't got what you got. No, fix that. Get with the right people in the right mindset. Let's keep going. Comments.
Right. Sister Tanya said people are not being held accountable for their actions in churches and set down or remove off auxiliaries like they used to do back in the day. You couldn't be on an auxiliary before people preach, singing, or doing anything if you looked like you were in the world or living in sin. The mothers was tearing with you at the altar until you was free, and then you could do things in the church. But now the world is accepted in so freely, and the church is compromising.
Wow.
But saying they trying to reach the world by allowing the world in the church.
Let me tell you something, Sis Tanya. Let me tell you something. You said a mouthful there, because it's true. Back in the day, you get set down in a minute. If you wasn't, I remember you couldn't even join the choirs and stuff unless you were saved and filled with the Holy Ghost. You know what I'm saying? That's going back to that spirit of offense that we were talking about earlier. And how we was mentioning Maddie Moss Clark. You used to, I remember, that when the choirs was there and all that stuff, Bishop would sit the whole choir down. You hear me? It's the whole choir. I remember one time he set the choir, the praise team, the mimers. We ain't had nothing. He just came downstairs. We prayed until he came from downstairs out this office and preached. That was, and then we went home after the preached word. And so, but you knew that was the right way to do things. You know what I'm saying? But now everybody gets so easily offended, and they want to, like Sister Tanya was saying, they want to look like the world. Our minds have changed, and we've brought that negative thinking and that negative spirit and that spirit of offense into the body of Christ. And wondering why we can't see a move of God. Even her, like she's saying, the mothers used to tarry with you at the altar until you got free. Well, mothers can't tarry at the altar no more because we have a negative outlook on the altar now. We have a negative outlook on what the altar can do for us now, so people don't come to the altar no more. And versus where you had that spiritually positive mindset about, I can get free up here at this altar. I can go whatever I'm going through. And then another thing she said was talking about how people are not held accountable no more. You know, the preachers, the ministers back in the day, the priests and stuff back in the day, they would go into the temple, and if they weren't living right, they would die. So they would have to put a bell and a rope on their ankle or around their waist sometimes. And if because they had to pull them out if they died, if they didn't hear that bell ringing no more. And that's because they had to use a rope to pull them out because they knew they couldn't go in there because they knew they weren't living right. So they didn't want to die. So, you know, but there was a certain accountability that they held, you know what I'm saying, because they didn't want to displease God. I was on a podcast a few months back, and the guy was asking me about, you know, about God and my acting career and all these things. And he was saying how the preachers and people who are living saved or quote unquote saved, they should be held more accountable. He said, I was a military guy. And he said, I knew I had to do my job and do it right because the man next to me could die if I didn't do my job right. So they took their job seriously because, one, they didn't want to die when they was out there in the field in war, and they didn't want their brother or sister in arms to die either. And so they took their job seriously. And when he said that, it hit me. I was like, wow, we should take our jobs that seriously in the church, in the gospel, in God, because we don't want to die and not doing what we're supposed to do, like those preachers, those ministers did back in the Bible days. And then, two, I don't want my brother or my sister next to me to fail or not get to where they need to go, or me hindering them getting to where they get because I'm not doing my job properly. That's a good point, Sister Tanya. Let's get some more comments. Some more comments.
Yeah, on YouTube, Sister Roseberry, hope I'm saying your name right. So yes, I agree with you, Marcus. With a soft answer, like we said, like
yep.
They want to talk, and they're going back to Facebook. Somebody replying to Stephanie saying, but eventually someone or something will eventually humble them down in their wrongdoing.
Absolutely. The way life works is, man, you reap what you sow. You keep doing all that stuff. Life will come and it'll humble you. Let's keep going. Let's do some more.
So the Joy said, God's karma is a whole other story. You don't do wrong and get by.
No, you don't. See, the problem is we have grace and mercy. God gives us grace and mercy, and then some people give each other a level of grace and mercy, and somehow, so that means people think they're getting by. Just because you're getting by, don't mean you got away. You can't beat God in nothing. Just like you say, you can't beat God given, and the Bible also says that vengeance is mine, say the Lord. You can't get God when it's time to get back. So it's just best to do what God told you to do the right things in the eyes of the Lord, and just keep a positive mindset. Let's keep rolling.
Steph says, Bible she says in real life.
In real life, yes.
Thank you, Steph. Steph says, I have dealt with trust issues with people are concerned, and one day God checked me, tell me that I don't have a problem trusting people. It's actually I have a problem trusting God.
Woo! That's heavy because that's true. You know what I'm saying? Because we as people, we're so busy trying to find loyal people and be and don't get me wrong, we're human. We're gonna do that. So this doesn't mean that so I'm ungodly because I'm trying to find trust and loyalty and friendship and all. No, there's nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying is, let God guide you. And I believe, if I'm wrong, you correct me. I believe that's something that she's saying, because if you trust God enough to put the right people around you, you won't get hurt as bad, or you won't get hurt at all. You know what I'm saying? If you trust God to bring the right people to you. So we put more trust in man than we do in people. You know what I'm saying? There was a celebrity, and I'm only saying it because it's public, Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? He no longer trusts Jesus. Right. This is words out of his mouth. I watched this podcast, and he was saying that he doesn't, he said he would pray to Jesus and he didn't see nothing change. So he took things into his own hands. And that's what we do when we don't see God moving how we think he should move. We be like, I got it from here, God. God, you ain't bringing the right people quick enough for me to trust. So I'm gonna go find the right people. And you can't do that. How in the world can we trust and believe and have more faith in the creation than the creator? We can't, because he created them. And you know what I'm saying? Because he's the one who could change their heart. before we get somebody, God can get them better and have them apologize to us and make things right with us before we even got to do or say anything, because all we're doing is following how God wants us to move. And that's the way that it has to be. You have to trust God, even in your positive thinking. You have to trust God. So when I say in your positive thinking, I'm saying things like, if God say I'm gonna bring you out, you can't have a negative mindset about coming out.
Right.
You can't be like, well, God said He's gonna bring me out, but I'm trying to figure out when. Don't get me wrong, you are gonna get tired and stuff like that. But the Bible also tells us don't get weary in well doing. He says, so you got to shake yourself when you do find yourself getting tired of thinking you're not gonna come out and things like that. But what I'm saying is when God says He's gonna do something, don't be negative, be positive about it. God told me He's gonna do it. God can't lie to me. If God told me He's gonna bring me the right people, the right thinking, the right healthy relationships with people, healthy thinking people, help people with better positive minds than me, so I can learn and glean from them. You have to trust that God is going to do what God said He's going to do, no matter what happens. The problem with us is we don't give God time to be God sometimes, because He's not on our time frame. Right. He's not. And I was telling him in a service at Sunday school the other day, God lives outside of time. He can look at time from the left to right, to front to back. We only know time to go from the past into the future. You know what I'm saying? That's how we know past, present, future. God can be like, y'all know past, present, future, but I can look at the end to see the beginning. Or I can get in the middle and tell you which way you go. God, He lives outside of time. Time for God, for us, goes in a straight line, just like this. But for God, He can look at it from here, up here, down here, in front of here, back here. He lives outside of eternity and time, so He can do whatever He wants. Good point, Steph. Let's keep going.
No, I should have said that tit for tat isn't good for any communication. It won't solve anything.
It won't solve not a thing, because when we're going tit for tat, when we're going back and forth, we're just trying to win the argument. We're not trying to win the person or win the situation. So that's a good point, Sister Marcinda. Keep going, T.
Sister Joyce come back and say, you are your own unique person. Never expect what you give is a give or be given back. And God bless a cheerful giver.
Yes, He does. So, and that's going back talking about how, giving, what we were talking about, if you're giving out the kindness of your heart, don't do it for man alone, because because everybody, now don't get me wrong, if you got friends and family that y'all love and y'all reciprocate that love and stuff, you kind of expect them to throw it back sometimes, to reciprocate it to you sometimes. But if you do it out the kindness of your heart, you can't beat God given, and He does love a cheerful giver. Give cheerfully, not just your money at church. Give your time cheerfully. Give your help, your support. Give it cheerfully, and it'll be reciprocated. Let's keep rolling.
Right. So the time come back was saying, what I do for a person from the kindness of my heart, or if God laid it on my heart to do it, I am not looking for that person to give me anything in return, because I know my crown coming from God, and He's going to continue to bless me to be a blessing to somebody else. So I don't look for nothing to come back from somebody because I have done something for them out of the kindness of my heart. If that's the real person, why you did it, then you shouldn't expect nothing to come back to the back. But thank you, I appreciate you.
Yeah, and that's just basically what I was just saying. That's so true. It's doing it because God told me to do it, or I'm just doing it out the kindness of my heart. Man, it really is more. It's better to give than to receive. I give like on Mondays after reliable sources, I go live and I give free information about acting. If any, and I'm giving information away that I had to pay for, that I had to bump my head for, things that I learned and went through that nobody taught me. And I give it away for free because I just want people to be better. I just want people to be better actors. I want to be the change that Steph was saying earlier. Right. Be the change you want. Okay, I'm gonna give somebody something back that I wish somebody would have did for me. And I'm telling you, the more you do that, it's like when people come back and be like, oh my God, because everybody don't always come back. But when people come back and be like, oh, thank you, that helped me. I've watched people from our program, Monologue Mondays. I've seen them get parts in movies. I've seen them get signed to agencies and managers by just taking the free information that I gave. And that does me better than, them actually paying for it. Don't get me wrong. Money, I'm not saying money or gifts is not welcomed or needed. But I'm just saying that gift of you help somebody without nothing in return. I don't get paid on Instagram to do what I be doing. I just do it because I love what I do and I want to share it with other people. And sometimes that's the greatest reward right there. But yeah, so good point there. Let's keep going.
Sister Margaret said, I do not judge anyone. I want to say that before I say this. The world now, I believe, the world now is under a demonic plague of homosexuality. They just bombard us with this television commercial, publicity, and everything. So true. I was born in the early '60s in my day. This type of thing was hidden. Now people are trying so hard to make everyone accept this. I want to speak on that for a minute.
Go ahead.
Because again, she's so right because it's a show called X-Men 97. Mark, you and I grew up watching this show. Those who watched X-Men 97, we know those type of things was out there, but it wasn't so public as it is now. Now they put it, at first they were trying to be sly with it, but then you see them what they're doing. Oh, we're gonna change this character because we want to put it out there. And again, it's like a vicious circle. Like every time they try to do this for a kid that's already been established, it's a pushback. It's like, hey, don't do that. But then they come say, oh, we're wrong because we want to accept that. Like, no, this is how the character was. Leave it as is or don't touch it at all. And that's the problem. I see what she's saying because like I'm an 80s baby. So I get it.
So and it's crazy because she also mentioned too to that it's like they pushing it down your throat.
Yeah.
But it's something that we have to be aware of.
Yeah.
Because we can't change everybody's mind.
Right.
We don't have that ability.
Right.
But what we do have the ability is to change the way we move it and show people that there is a standard. There are certain things that shouldn't be changed, especially when it comes to God, that shouldn't and won't be changed. You know what I'm saying? And to her, she also mentioned about TV.
Yeah.
It's in TV, it's in music, and that brings me to what I want to talk about next. It's about what we're feeding ourselves that controls our minds. It's what we're putting on our. I told the kids Friday, and I said, and we've heard this conversation before, but I'm gonna bring it up. I asked the question. I said, "There's two wolves." I said, one wolf represents happiness, positivity, joy, and a strength. And I said, there's another wolf that represents anger and negativity and hatred. You know what I'm saying, and all this other thing. And I said, which one of those wolves are stronger? And somebody I asked to raise their head. Some of the kids was like, that wolf that got hatred in him because he mean, he hungry, he wants it more. The other kid was saying the other wolf because he's happy and all this. And I said neither one of those answers are right. And they asked me which answer was right. I said it's the one you feed. The one you feed is the strongest. So if you feed that negative mindset more than you're feeding that positive mindset with what you watch on TV, what you're listening to in your music, what you're reading, who you're talking to, that's going to be the strongest one. So even in being saved, what's going to be stronger? Your sin or what God says, whatever one you're feeding. If you're not spending no time with God and you're spending more time in the world and the fleshly things, that's going to be stronger. But if you're spending time with God, your spirit man is going to be stronger than your flesh. So it's whatever one you're feeding. We have to watch what we're feeding and what we're allowing to be fed to our young people and people around us. And we have to make sure that we're not doing it. But it all starts with us. We have to make sure that we're not feeding ourselves that, because you're gonna reciprocate, or you're gonna, you know what I'm saying, regurgitate what's in you. So, but good point, Sister Margaret. Let's keep moving.
So the kid said, this is confirmation. I posted today that I refuse to allow anyone's negativity energy to jump on me, and that we as Christians have to be careful on how we respond back to negativity.
Absolutely.
You don't know what they are deleting, or what they are dealing with. So we have to be humble ourselves and kill them with kindness.
Kill them with kindness. Hey, somebody cut you off. Don't you give them the middle finger, child of God. Don't you cuss them out. You know what I'm saying? Hit them with the "I'm sorry, my bad," and let them go in front of you. But that's in any situation. I'm not saying be a welcoming man, let people walk all over you. I wouldn't say that. But what I'm saying is, you don't know what folk dealing with. You don't know if they 2 seconds away from one more person getting on their nerves to shoot up a mall or to shoot up a school. You just don't know. People minds are not there. They're there, or they're literally on their last nerve. Like they have nothing else to live for. You don't know what he's dealing with. And you'll be surprised what your kindness would do for that person that day. Because think about, going back to what Steph said again about being a change. Think about the times you wish somebody would have came and gave you a hug, gave you a compliment, showed you some type of love, gave you some type of positivity or words of encouragement when you needed it. So be that for them, because you just never know. I seen it was a reel where this guy got on. It was a older guy, like he was in his late 20s, early 30s, and it was a young boy. He was 14 on there, and they were on I think it's Omegle or something, and they were on there, and the gentleman, the older gentleman, came in, and he said, "What's up, man?" To the young guy was like, "What's up?" He said, "How you feeling?" He said, "I'm feeling okay." He said, "The last person that was on here with me told me to kill myself," and the older guy started laughing, and he said, "Let me tell you something." He said, "Forget that guy." He said, "Forget that guy." He said, "Look at you, you cool." And he said, he had on a Pikachu. What's that show called? Pokemon hat. The one that the main character wear. And he said, "You know what kind of?" He said, "I like your hat." He was like, "Why you like my hat?" He said, "What character wears that hat?" And he said, "Ash." He said, "Yeah, because my name is Ash." And he said, "Man, don't kill yourself. You're like a good kid, a good person." And he said, "You're 14. You got the whole world in front of you." He said, "Don't listen to them." That kindness alone put a smile on that kid's face from dealing with the person he just dealt with. Now, that man didn't know who he had dealt with before he jumped on his Omegle page. Right. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't tell, he seen where he was at, and he didn't match that sadness. He didn't throw no more meanness on it. He just showed him positivity and some kindness. Go ahead.
Like you can say, he matched the energy that he was given. Then at the same time, like by him giving us a positive, hey, look, don't worry about that person. Because I like what Sakita was saying, because like people can put a post on, you don't gotta respond to everybody. No. He's like, you just like, all right, I disagree with you, moving on. Yep. So you gotta respond to everything like that. And like, you never know, a hug or a good comment could do somebody a long way better than where they at.
Absolutely. And you do it genuinely from your heart. You know that affects people in a good way. Let's keep going. I see.
So most of the time, people that are concerned about what the next person is doing is because they are lacking themselves and can become jealous and envy of the next person when they really need to just check themselves. Yep. Evaluate themselves and come up higher than where they are, and do better themselves. And they, like you said, they won't have time to judge someone else.
Absolutely. That's the point I was gonna say that Trinity was talking about earlier as well. Put that time in on yourself. And that's what Sister Tanya is saying as well. Put that, stop worrying about everybody else and stop worrying about everybody else worrying about everybody else. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Just worry about you. You know what I'm saying? Worry about you and get you together. And I'm telling you, once you be positive, man, I know for a fact, man, sometimes my positivity run people away. And I'm like, well, and sometimes my faith run people away because it's like, well, what do I don't just doing too much, or you always happy go lucky. I'm not saying I said that earlier. It's not positive. Being positive and believing in God is not always happy go lucky. You know what I'm saying? It ain't always sunshines and rainbows and skipping through the tulips. But I know from God's track record and life itself, the more positive you are, the more trusting in God you are, the more trusting in that even though the world's an ugly place, there's still a lot of beautiful left in it. You're going to experience that more, and if not more, in a greater way, in a more quality way than you're experiencing some of the negativity and the evil and the sin and things of that nature. Good point, Sister Tanya. Let's keep moving.
Stephanie comes back and says, it makes perfect sense. It's not wise to move through life in a spirit of obligation. True kindness is born when you do good, knowing it won't be recognized by people. God sees all.
God sees all. Good point, Steph. I dig that. Let's keep moving.
Yeah. So the Joyce come back with a saying, you have to be an example to lead.
You have to be an example to lead. And that means that somebody has to have some example to look up to lead. So it's just important just to be that example. Good point. Let's go. I see another paragraph.
So somebody said, being in competition with one another, especially in the church, saints, brothers and sisters, all the Lord shouldn't exist. Be happy for one another and watch God give you what you prayed for. All right, I gotta speak on that.
Go ahead.
She's speaking license. I have two friends. One guy who's been doing YouTube for another person I trained maybe like 2-3 years ago. She recently got like maybe close to 400 subscribers. My buddy just like maybe a year ago got over 1,000. That's when the money started coming in.
Right.
And you know what I did, y'all? Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I know my time is coming.
Absolutely.
And I like what Sister Marcinda said right there. I believe that's going to happen. I always believe it's not the ending. It's the it's the journey that matters, not the ending.
Absolutely. You learn everything in the journey, and the ending is the end. You're done, but the journey is more important. But no, it's the same way. This game of acting, this business of entertainment acting it can be a very competitive one.
Yeah.
And you got friends that get roles that some people I've seen that we went up for the same role and they got it before me. But I would never be like, oh my God, why they get it, not this? Because I had to learn it now. I wasn't always like this. I had to learn, like, yo, their win is their win. I don't know what they went through or what they had to put in. Even though they my friend, I don't know the work they put in to get to where they at. I don't know the season and time. See, it takes back to that scripture where it says, be not weary and well doing. And then it says, for in due season. You know what I'm saying? That means that everything that you went through is for something. And in that season, your time is going to come. So you cannot get upset or worried or concerned or mad about somebody else winning, especially if they're supposed to be a friend or somebody that that you're rooting for. You don't get mad at them. You do exactly what you said. I know my time coming, so I'm not worried about that. And matter of fact, since you're my neighbor and you in my neighborhood, if you're getting blessed, man, my blessing is around the corner somewhere. It's on the way. It's all about a mindset and the way you think about things. And if you don't think that way, you'll be so mad and looking at them and jealous of them, where you'll miss your opportunity because you're so focused on them and not focused on what you're supposed to be doing. Good point, Sister Marcinda. Let's keep going.
Cynthia said, giving shouldn't involve motive. It's give, and he'll give it back to you. Not give, and they'll give it back. Look for God's blessing in your giving.
That's it. I'm telling, because you cannot beat God giving. You'll be all day trying to outgive God, and you'll be all day mad. Talking about some people don't do for me the way I do for them. No, stop. If it's bothering you like that, stop doing. Stop doing. And I guarantee you, when you stop doing, you ain't gonna see a lot of blessings if you stop doing, because you got to put seeds in and watch those things grow and come back to you during that harvest time. You know what I'm saying? So, but don't do it for those reasons, because you're planting the wrong type of seed. Let's go. Let's keep rolling.
Brother Edward says, when you do your will and not God's will, trouble will be in your way.
Yep, absolutely. I'm telling you, it makes sense. You can't do what you want to do and then think God's supposed to just come through and do his thing. No, if you do what God say and the way that God says it, you'll be just fine. Let's go.
All right. We're back with Sister Tita said, that's sad. How can you believe and sing about God, but you say you don't and can't trust Jesus?
Isn't that crazy? It's a crazy situation. And let me tell y'all something, because we're almost through here, but I want to tell y'all this before we go. And I want to get some more comments because I see some more down here. When you having a positive mindset, it doesn't mean that you're believing for necessarily something way out of the way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Your positivity or your optimism should have some grounding in reality.
Right.
In other words, like football, for example. You can't say you're going to win a football game and be a great football player without ever stepping on the field.
Right.
So your positive mindset or thinking better for yourself has to be grounded with some reality. Now, don't get me wrong. God can do anything. He can do the impossible. Do you hear me? Mm-hmm. But you first have to start with believing him to do the impossible. And whatever that impossible is and that miracle that you're looking for, you have to be in the right place to get that miracle. I can't go play basketball saying I'm gonna win the Super Bowl. Those are two different sports. You get what I'm saying? Right. If I'm playing basketball, I have to say I'm going to be the best basketball player and I'm going to win a championship in the playoffs in basketball. But in the finals in basketball, I have to be a football player to say I'm gonna win the Super Bowl one day. So keep your optimism and your positivity grounded in the reality of what you're expecting God to do. That doesn't mean that, so I can't be a millionaire because I'm not a stockbroker. It doesn't mean that. It's just saying that I could be a millionaire, and wherever God places me to be that millionaire, I can win in that field. You get what I'm saying? I'm an actor. I shouldn't be saying I'm about to win the Stanley Cup in hockey, and I'm talking about I'm an actor. You get what I'm saying? I'm going to win the Stanley. I'm an actor. Right. The awards and stuff that I want is the SAG awards, the Oscars, and so forth and so on. So that's where I believe I put my faith in where I'm at, to do it and let God do the impossible where I'm at. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I hope it makes sense. Let's get some more comments.
Right. Sister Marcina says, I am a giver. Like most of us on here, when you have the gift of help, you see a need and just do it. Mm-hmm. And don't go around saying what you have done. God bless the giver. You'll be blessing. You'll get a. You'll be a blessing. You'll get a blessing.
Absolutely. If you again, same thing. You can't beat God given. Mm-hmm. If you change the way, if you change your mindset on giving, I'm telling you, you'll reap better. At first, you'll feel better. I'm telling you, you'll physically start feeling better, and then you'll start reaping the blessings that you've been giving to other people. So, good point. Let's keep rolling.
Yeah. So, Margaret comes in saying, "Yes, I avoid certain shows, mind you, that I would like to watch, but I don't watch or listen
because you put that wrong stuff in there. You'll be feeding the wrong wolf. Yep. And if you joined us late, go back and listen to the whole thing later and see what we talk about. Feed the right thing, man. Feed the right. You got your mindset. My kindergarten teacher used to say, stick with your first mind. You know what I'm saying? Your first mind. And you only got one mind, but what I'm saying,
I should stuck with my first mind.
I should stuck with my first. Like, if you get something and was right, but then you changed it, stick with your first mind. Your first mind is the positive mind, is the better mind, is one God blessed you with. Let's keep rolling.
So the Tiny said, I had someone tell me if I had $1 for everything I'd done for you, that they would be rich by now. But mind you, they would say, God told me to do it, to do this, and made me feel some kind of way, but because I know God didn't respond to them the same way, they were shocked that I didn't snap back at them.
Because look, I'm gonna tell y'all this: stop putting God where he ain't at. First of all, that's the first part. They need to stop putting God where God isn't. And I totally get what you say, Satai. Like, don't say God when it ain't God doing it. And if it's just you, it's you. You know what I'm saying? But don't put God where he ain't at. Let's keep rolling. Good point.
So Joyce come back saying, people often tell me that I am too nice. The other person said, my smile keeps them going. So I guess I'm winning.
Yeah, you absolutely. Right. You winning at life. Keep it up too. Let's go.
Yeah. And Trinity comes back to saying that people nowadays are not caring about what they do around other people. I am not talking about being scared to pray or being afraid of talking about Jesus. I'm talking about when people curse each other out or make fun of someone for the way they look or act, not knowing that person is barely hanging on.
Yeah, and that's true, and that goes back to that's true to what we were saying earlier. Like, you don't know what people are, how they could be on their last leg, so you know what I'm saying, so to speak. And we have to be careful on how we treat people. Even and what she's saying is, and Trinity, you correct me if I'm wrong. What she's saying is, you can still be a saint of God and be saved and still not treat people right. It's not right. Is wrong, but you can get up and sing and preach in church and do all the great deeds, but you still treating people like they not nothing. And those people are the ones that you need to be reaching and ministering to, and the ones that you need to be showing kindness to. It don't do us no good, and it's scriptural, but I don't have time to go to it. We're paraphrasing. It don't do me no good to love somebody that loves me. You know what I'm saying? I don't win that way because they already love me. It's better for me to treat somebody right that ain't treating me right, or show love to somebody that ain't used to getting love shown to them, because those are the people that I'm trying to win. And that's the same way in the body of Christ or in salvation. We go to church to get to stay encouraged in God, to be uplifted, and to go back out to the world and win souls and give God glory through our life. But we shouldn't just be telling people about God in church. That the people in church know God for the most part. It's the folk outside that we're trying to win. Same thing with being kind and being positive to somebody. You're trying to win them. So everybody you're trying to win ain't gonna always be a positive person. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be negativity, but you got to know to treat everybody right. Treat everybody with love. Treat everybody with kindness, and watch that be the blessing that you really need. But yeah, man, be careful with people. We don't know what people, how they hanging on, or if they on their last leg. But that's a good point, Trent.
I know we got right. So I'm going to read through these comments right quick.
Yeah.
So Tanya says, get rid of the copycat spirit and be yourself. It's much easier and healthier to be yourself. So the Joyce, okay. So the Joyce said, I know what you mean. I have helped so many people, but when they are able to help me, they did. But God has his time for a bigger blessing. I am blessed to have my life, health, and strength, which is most important.
Amen. Let's get the last one done.
And the last one, Brother Marcus, you said tiptoeing through the tulips. Said this was a song long ago in the late 60s by a guy named Tiny Tim. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. He played his ukulele just thought a little humor wouldn't hurt.
No, nothing wrong with a little humor. No, I appreciate it. Let's get Trinity last time.
The last time, I said a lot of times people don't look like they're going through. I know people in that had depression, but they never act like it.
Yeah, that's so true. That's why it's important to treat everybody right. Look, you all, this has been great. T, I appreciate you. I'm pretty sure Bishop will be right back on here Monday. And y'all, let's change our mindset. Let's be more positive. Let's be positive about the things of God. Let's be positive about life. Let's be positive that good is going to happen and will happen. And no matter if it's going wrong, it's got to go right at some point. All right. I'll talk to y'all later.